Hello, and welcome to the eCommerce Redneck podcast. Have a really exciting guest, fellow podcaster on today, Jessica Williamson. She is really a great gal, and I've had the pleasure of working with her at Big Commerce, and she is just a lot of fun to listen to. She has really interesting guests. So, without further ado, why don't we just jump into it? Hello.
Hello. Jeremy, it's so great to be on here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, how are you doing today?
I am wonderful. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. I have been watching you. We have a lot of the same friends, obviously.
Yes.
So I spent 7.5 years at Big Commerce. I believe you've been at Big Commerce for about four, right? Your day
Yes.
job, yeah.
Last week was my 4-year anniversary. Happy to announce.
That's awesome. I mean, to be anywhere in tech for that long is an accomplishment nowadays, especially when you see how often people jump from company to company. And so, with that said, you have this Blonde in Tech podcast, and you've had on some pretty exciting guests. Ryan Stout the other day, that's a good one, and
Yes.
quite a few others. So, tell me a little bit about what you're doing with this, kind of what your focus is.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Bond and Tech podcast is a podcast where there's solo episodes with just me for some training and also some interview episodes with some great people like Ryan Stout, which Ryan record that snippet of me giving you those kudos, but really great people in the tech space. The reason I wanted to start it was because coming out of college, I felt like you had to be an SDR if you were in sales, and you didn't really know what was after that. You didn't know if it was
Mhm.
AE. I didn't even know CAM was a thing. So I just felt like, first and foremost, there wasn't a lot of information out there readily available for the people that are coming straight out of college. All they knew was to be an SDR and you'll figure out from there.
Yeah.
I didn't go the traditional SDR to account executive route. I went SDR to channel account management route.
Hmm.
And it opened up this really interesting career path for me that I love, and I wouldn't trade for anything in the world. And I felt like more people needed to understand that path. I also had some friends that were in different industries and just hating it. And I was like, come on over to the tech industry. Like, let me help you get a part of it. And now they are blossoming and loving the tech industry. So, because of those two things, I was like, I want to help other people either out of college or in an industry that they don't enjoy anymore to understand the tech industry, to understand what avenues are in the tech industry, right? It could be customer success, it could be channel account management, AE, it can be so many different avenues. I just want the barrier of entry for the tech industry to be broken down and for more people to be able to be a part of this industry that you and I both love and have been in for
Hmm.
years and
Yeah.
has just given so much to me. I want to be able to give that back to others.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. There's definitely a ton of opportunity out there, and while the economy has had its issues, and there's been some really you see a lot more people like holding back on
Yeah.
investments and things like that. I think as it ebbs and flows, there's going to be a resurgence, and I think it'll be sooner rather than later. And so this is an exciting time in technology because I mean you have so many different things with the AI, the headless that's out
Yes.
there. That there every time I turn around, there is something new. The first interview I had on here was with a company that does Flare AI that does SEO using AI and ties into your system. It's pretty cool. And
Yeah.
it's just 2 or 3 years ago, AI chatbots weren't a thing, and so
Mm-mm.
and then there's also other things where people are just finally figuring out some hard things that we've never been able to do. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think, some people are afraid of the tech industry and afraid
mhm.
of the technology. And I just want to break down those barriers too of like, learn about it. It's fascinating what we're able to do with technology, with AI. It's not taking over people's jobs
Right.
yet. I'm not
Yeah.
saying it won't at some point, but like you still have to input information for the AI to be able to work. So how can we work with it instead of trying to
Well,
work against it?
yeah, and two, I've heard it said time and time again, if you don't want to get left behind by it, learn how to use it. Because the people that can prompt the AI to do the things that are needed is where the key is. So if you're looking for getting into the tech space, that's a great, vertical, simply because
It's new.
so many people don't know how to use it, right?
Exactly. If you can
So,
become an expert in it and understand how to really use it to the best of your ability,
uh-huh.
you that is super valuable for companies.
Well, and I'll tell you, it's been helpful for me, even as a CEO, to, there are times when you get faced with situations that are very aggravating,
Yes.
in business and building websites and doing e-commerce, very, very frustrating situations. And what I've learned is I tend to get better results if I'll just write it the way I feel, right? Like, I am furious, blah, 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 just go through it. And then I tell AI, I said, write this to be professional, concise, and kind. And
Yes.
it takes it and puts it in there and spits out this, like, well written, very astute, like, verbiage. And I just saved myself from having egg on my face because I was upset. So even little things like that are,
It's the tone. You can
it's
put
the
it like
tone. Yeah.
write it like Ryan Reynolds said it. Right? Like I've done it a couple times just to mess around with it. Write it like a professional millennial woman wrote it.
Yeah.
And it's just so fun. And then you do Gen Z or you do like a baby boomer. And it's just so funny,
Uh-huh.
like the different tones that you can do. My favorite is obviously the Ryan Reynolds one.
Yeah.
Um,
Who
but
does who
it's
doesn't
very fun.
love him though, right?
How can you not? It's
He's a
Ryan
great guy.
Reynolds.
He's hilarious, good looking, I mean, yeah, it's Ryan Reynolds.
Exactly.
uh,
I love it.
but yeah, so both of us have spent time at Big Commerce,
Yeah.
and I will say lately there's been some real exciting kind of breakthroughs, if you will, with the Big Commerce system, and I'd love to talk to you a little bit about some of what's been released recently, and what your thoughts are on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I share a little bit about what I do at Big Commerce just so some people are
Yeah, that I
aware
guess
of
that
that?
would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, I started out at BigCommerce as an SDR, sales development representative. So, doing or inbound. I wish it was inbound. Doing outbound calls, cold emails, cold outreach, all of that jazz. Started in April of 2020, and then joined the agency team in the channel account management role in September of 2021. I was
Mhm.
working with agencies between the size of 1 and 5 employees. We like to call those boutique agencies from Texas all the way up to Canada on the eastern side. That's actually when I was
You were my person.
yeah, exactly. I was part consultants, growth channel account manager for some time, and then in October of 2022, I moved territories. Now working with agencies between the size of 11 to 50 employees in the southeast region of the United States. So what that means is I am agency's point of contact. So I help train them if they have any leads that are interested in big commerce. I help them through the sales process. I listen to their concerns, comments, complaints, therapy sessions. I am their one stop shop at BigCommerce. And I always like to preface this I don't have all of the answers. My job is to be able to pull in the resources to get all of your questions answered properly. And so, happy to go into some of the releases. I always say I'm not that technical either, but a little dangerous, and excited to see where the BigCommerce is going after being here for 4 years. And you were there since the beginning, so you've seen all of the changes of BigCommerce.
I've definitely been through a lot of them. And
Mm-hmm.
they did just release Catalyst.
Yes.
So that's pretty exciting. Can you tell us a little bit about
Yeah,
what that is? So,
absolutely. So in this day and age, headless is a really big buzzword, right? So that's
mhm.
for those of you who are unaware, headless is where you're able to put a custom CMS or DXP on top of your e-commerce backend. So you have a really customizable feel. You're able to really do whatever you want with it. But with that, there's some technical components. And so with Catalyst gives you the headless architecture to be able to spin up a store with BigCommerce's backend in different components automatically to make it easier for you to be able to go headless. So it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't build your site, right? It's not creating your beautiful front end experience, but it's giving you the architecture to be able to have a full-fledged, headless, successful,
Mm-hmm.
secure hosted site on BigCommerce.
Right. And then y'all also had a really interesting acquisition, and I actually got to meet with one of the founders. Was really impressed with the product, but MakeSwift, which is just freaking awesome. It's one of the best systems I've seen.
It really is. So MakeSwift is a headless page builder, right? So you're able to use it with Catalyst. It is Catalyst. You're able to use it there. But MakeSwift was actually created with marketers in mind. So
Mm-hmm.
it is a drag and drop page builder. It is super easy. It is low code, no code, and made with marketers in mind, meaning marketers usually aren't developers. They don't understand how to do all of the coding. And some of you marketers out there that do, y'all are superstars.
Yeah,
But
it's
for
like
the
maybe 3% of them.
right, but like I
Yeah.
have a marketing degree. I don't know how to code. That's not what I
Mm-hmm.
studied. And so
Mm-hmm.
you're able to really make beautiful websites and blog components and by being able to drag and drop different components and widgets super easily
Mm-hmm.
with your team and being able to collaborate as well. So you're able to have a very headless, customizable site,
Uh-huh.
but really, really simple, low code, no code.
Well, the other side of that too, and I would compare it kind of almost like you're dealing with a Webflow type experience or something. It feels like on the back end, almost like Figma, which is great because that's an industry standard. And one thing I can say, a couple of things I would point out about that is MakeSwift is also one of the fastest front
Yeah.
end component
Yes.
builders that is out there. It's extremely fast. If you're looking for a fast site, great SEO, um, you know, better experience, you're going to want to take this serious with MakeSwift because it will allow you to do things in a very quick way, be able to
Mm-hmm.
do it across your website, and then where people like me come in is we can build components that are custom to you. And so instead of having the whole site just in this completely customized, you're locked out of it thing that happens with code, you basically can grab these components and place them into your site wherever you
Yeah.
want them. It's plug and play, and just think of it like that. We are the custom block builders. We're the ones
Yes.
that can build those custom components that you need for functionality. And then the other side of that is that BigCommerce has the best API. So when you're tying in all your stuff for headless, when you start looking past, just a SaaS platform that is a front end, and you
Mm-hmm.
start looking at from a headless perspective, you want something that you can easily modify and integrate into the core system, which is BigCommerce. So.
Absolutely. I always like to use a cardboard box as an example, right? There's so many there's open source, there's SaaS based, and then there's open SaaS for BigCommerce is. And the
Mm-hmm.
difference between open source, you have like they give you cardboard and duct tape and they say you can build the site, you can build the box however you want to build it, but if you break it, you got to fix it.
Right.
For a full SaaS base, they give you a full box and it's like, okay, stay within the box. The box is safe. If you want to go outside of the box, it's really difficult. Well, with BigCommerce, we give you the box, but we also give you extra cardboard and duct tape to be able to play and build the way you want, meaning integrate the systems and softwares that you're currently using. Use what works best for you. Whatever headless framework works the best for you, we want you to be able to use that. So with
Mm-hmm.
BigCommerce, there's less limitations, super fast, super secure. You're good to go on BigCommerce, and we want to make sure it's the best e-commerce platform for our merchants and our partners to be able to build on. So that's why we acquire companies like Feedonomics and MakeSwift, and we've created Catalyst. We are trying to continuously either partner with the right companies to give
Right.
you everyone the tools to be able to do what they want, or we just partner with the best of breed, right? So we want to partner with the right people, and we're just the e-commerce platform.
Right, right. And big commerce, particularly when you get into like mid-market level stuff where it starts getting more complex, you have
Yeah.
more interactions. I would just say you have to take you if you don't know about big commerce, that is unfortunate because you need to take it seriously because the options and capabilities that you have with big commerce and flexibility,
Mhm.
there's a reason that so many major brands, high-end brands,
Yeah.
trust big commerce. And, there's a lot of stuff out there that it is considered enterprise that it to me just means difficult. I have no qualms about the fact that I don't like Salesforce commerce. It's entirely too difficult. But if you need complexity and you also need flexibility, that's where big commerce can really be that. Almost like I look at it as like it's taking the place of the guys that used to do everything custom because there's just no reason to do a
Yeah.
custom platform anymore. There's almost no reason to do it. If you're doing it, you're wasting money most of the time. And
Yeah.
then when you look at Adobe or other products like that, you got to deal with hosting and the stability, and you got to deal with the security. I'm not in that. I'm not
Yeah.
looking for that. SaaS has developed enough that now, I remember a few years back, we pushed when we would talk to people about big commerce, we would push the open SaaS component. But
Yeah.
it truly has become that where it is now that big commerce is a SaaS product that is doing things in a very open and functional customizable way. So you definitely if you're in mid-market enterprise, it's a serious contender now, which I'm very proud of having got to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. And I also think what I love is being with the partners and working with agency partners that see, big commerce could use this. And they create apps and they create connectors and they create different things for our merchants to be able to use to make their lives easier. The agency lives easier, right? If we're missing a connector, but also the merchants' lives easier so they can continuously use what they're wanting to use, their ERP, their IMS, their whatever it may be. Being able to partner with such powerful agencies like that, I'm really honored to be able to do to say, we could we could build something for you. We could
mhm,
really make this work and continuously creating the best platform out there. I just really love that because we're not just siloed, right? We're not trying to be everything.
mhm,
We're partnering with the best of the breed. And I love that we have great agency partners that believe in big commerce, believe in the platform, that are like, we want to continue to make it better. Let's see
mhm.
what else we can do. And I just think it's a really great community, not necessarily just the technology that I do believe in, but the community that we've created for big commerce is really great as well.
Well, yeah, and I will say the events that Big Commerce puts on for their partners, the way they interact with their partners. If you're tired of not having people that you can reach out to and actually talk to and learn from and gain the information you need with whatever platform you're using, guess what? That's what Big Commerce has always done really well. And so I think that right there is a huge advantage. Now, one thing you said earlier, by the way, you had mentioned, with the blonde and tech thing, like trying to kind of open it up to where you're helping people to understand,
Mhm.
there's more in tech than just to be an SDR.
Yes.
And there, one thing I wanted to say is there's more than just account executives, right?
Yes.
When I was at Big Commerce, I was a client development executive and I sold apps basically while I was coaching people, So
Exactly.
there's all sorts of hybrids now and things. So if you're not a lot of guys that are good at sales, but really prefer a very honest approach and don't want to they really want to be somebody that's not looked at as a salesperson. Well, you might want to be a sales engineer. Maybe you're a little more
Yes.
technical. And
Yes.
I've seen guys that would never take a sales account executive job, but they'll take that because it allows them to come in and be the source of truth. So,
And it lets them play around with the technology and really
mm,
get to like learn all about it and then not necessarily even sell it, right? Just being like, this is what it can do. Like, and if you have any other ideas, let's figure out if it can do that. I think
right, right.
I just want to open up the door and open up the conversation to allow people to understand what else is out there. And that's why I do a lot of interviews is because for example, I interviewed the CEO of Tavano Team, one of my agency partners last week,
Hmm, hmm.
Rodrigo Alonso. He had a journalism degree
Oh yeah.
and spent like 9 years in the journalism area and then went into IT for a company and then went into Tavano Team and then was director of operations and then became CEO.
Hmm.
Now, in a million years, would you think that from a journalist to a CEO of, of an agency, would that be like a course of action?
Right,
No,
right.
he didn't see that coming, but he took some leaps of faith. He networked properly and he had the right connections and he asked the right questions to be where he is now. And so, sales isn't the only route. Tech industry isn't the only route, but I want to make sure people are aware of those routes of what they can be doing. And that's why I love the interviews is because I'm like, first of all, I never knew this about these people's lives. And I've
Yeah,
known some of these people for years.
yeah.
But I know other people can relate to it as well.
Yeah, and it's funny. Podcasting for me is a lot of fun.
Yes.
I've actually got this podcast. I'm about to join two more, or I've already joined one. I'm doing one for a Christian magazine called Heaven's Metal,
Oh,
and
cool.
then another one with a company I'm a part of called Jangle AI, which is a author and speakers like
Mm.
AI bot, so you can go in and talk to your favorite author type thing. So
That's really cool.
yeah, yeah, it's pretty cool. And eventually we'll have voice and everything else on that. So that's really exciting. But yeah, I like talking to people, and I just, after a while, I mean, when I was at Big Commerce, I basically finished most of my job before 12 in the morning. And then I spent the rest of the day going around and interacting with people. And that's just who I am. So and you're very outgoing as well. So I think it's a great relief
Yes.
and an exciting way to take some of those conversations that maybe you would have had offline and let other people experience it as well. So,
Absolutely. When COVID happened, I thought I was going to go crazy because I'm super extroverted. I need to talk to people. And my mom, who's my best friend, I will admit that, she was like, you never need to go back into the office. I was like, Mom, are you crazy? Like, what do you mean? I need people. I need an interaction. And she was like, you will not get any work done if you go back into the office. You need to stay, you need to stay separated from people because you get too distracted and you talk too much. And I was like, you're crazy, Mom. I went back into the office after I think it was like 2021, 2022 is when I first went back into the office, got zero work done that day because we were all just talking to each other the entire time. I left and I called my mom and I was like, you're absolutely correct. I cannot be in the office because I won't get any work done.
I think it's affected me a lot not to be in an office because I do like people. But what it's forced me to do is to go outside my comfort zone in my personal life and develop new friendships and new
Yes.
people. And for the first 7.5 years I was in Austin, all I knew was big commerce people. 7 years,
Yeah.
and so small world, great world. I mean,
Of course.
you can't beat big commerce people as far as quality and kindness and just in general good people. So
Mhm.
but yeah, it forced me outside my comfort zone. But I really enjoyed watching you and
Thank you.
appreciate that you're out there doing that and love watching the interviews. But with that said, where can we find all of your stuff? Where do we
Yeah.
find you,
Of course, of
Jessica?
course. So on LinkedIn, online, and Instagram and YouTube, you can find me at The Blonde in Tech. And
Okay.
so theblondeintech.com, The Blonde in Tech on LinkedIn, The Blonde in Tech on YouTube, and at The Blonde in Tech on Instagram and Facebook. I'm most active on LinkedIn and Instagram. My episodes go live every Wednesday at midnight on YouTube and Spotify. My goodness, you can tell I haven't had to say this very often. But if anyone has any questions, comments, concerns about the Blonde in Tech or want to be a guest, please feel free to reach out to me over Instagram and LinkedIn, and I'd be happy to have you on. Jeremy, I think you owe me an episode on the Blonde in Tech next.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, hey, it was great to have you on, and hope nothing but the best for you. I'm excited to see you keep going with the Blonde in Tech thing. I have not been as good about releasing new episodes because I've been doing agency work, but I love the fact that you're out there getting it done and putting out those episodes and letting people have that view into the industry that they might not have otherwise.
Thank you. And Jeremy, you have such a great reach in the industry. I love that you're starting your own podcast. The name is incredible as well. As I always reference rednecks, because I am a fellow redneck. So I love that. And I just love that you're doing this and I'm getting to see you at more conferences. So I'll see you at the next one.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you for watching the eCommerce Redneck Show. We're so excited to bring this to you, hopefully giving you lots of good information about e-commerce as it relates to you. If you're interested in working with me, simply go to cartconsultant.com and schedule a preliminary call for us to evaluate your needs and see how we can help you. I look forward to doing many more episodes and hopefully being a staple in your LinkedIn and YouTube feed. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
Sherman County cutie with a little bit of down home. Likes her lime with a splash of so cold. You know what I'm talking about. Head on back to come in.